The Pisces full moon is a beckoning to keep your head suspended amongst the clouds. But trust me, you're going to want to keep your feet planted squarely into the earth, as the descent from the clouds can be a far way to fall. My name is Comet, and welcome to Just Another Magic Monday, particularly your Just Another Magic Monday astrological weather report for the week of August 28th to September 3rd, 2023, where we are discussing, just as we do every single week here in my Cosmic Corner, what your week ahead horoscope looks like, but more importantly, how you can lean into these cosmic events in order to live your most magical and your most aligned life. Here in Magic Monday, we're super passionate about not fearing the cosmos, using the astrology forecast in order to seize opportunities and navigate some difficulties. Truly, the cosmos are nothing to fear. However, the cosmos are something to be respected, particularly when it comes to this week's astrology. The Pisces full moon on August 30th, to sum it up, is a siren's call. The full moon lands in the ethereal, elusive territory of Pisces, which can beckon us to want to get swept away into a dream world of our own making, dissolving into a land of imagination and fantasy and fiction where nothing is real. Yet, this full moon is gathered with Saturn, the very planet that embodies everything that is real: consequences, structures, karma, reality. Just like the sirens, this Pisces full moon and the vacation from reality that it promises can be alluring. But if you navigate your ship too close to that siren's call, there are rocks that await. And like I said, the cosmos are not anything to be feared. Saturn is not anything to be feared. It doles out necessary truths, reality checks that are needed for the next evolution of our journey. So if you've been living in a dream, if you have been escaping your reality or escaping from your intuition, if you thought that siren's call was legitimate, this is a week that can be a harsh wake-up call, but a necessary one. Because that's the thing about Saturn, why we don't need to fear Saturn. It's because Saturn is not mean for no reason. Saturn doles out necessary lessons for the purpose of growth. And sometimes you have to face the reality squarely in order to move forward, in order to navigate your ship away from the rocks that will lead to a shipwreck, no matter how alluring the sirens are. Sometimes we have to love ourselves enough to be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we have to love others enough in order to enact boundaries. These are hard realizations. These are tough illuminations. These are tricky conversations, but necessary. So allowing this emotional Pisces full moon to illuminate what truths you've been running from, or what aspects of your life you have been running from. Adding on to this full moon that lands in the middle of the week, we have two planetary stations sort of bookending the week. We have Uranus stationing retrograde at the beginning of the week, an internal call to review upon where it is that we are craving change, where it is that we want to live in alignment with our authenticity. And then at the end of the week, we have Venus stationing direct. That ends Venus retrograde, thank goodness, and it's our cosmic permission slip to start enacting some of those introspective questions we've been asking with Venus retrograde in Leo. So an easy week of astrology, not necessarily a necessary one, absolutely. One that's going to help us be able to move forward in an aligned, one that's going to allow us to move forward in an aligned path where we'll circumnavigate the spiky rocks in front of the sirens. Absolutely. So we will be talking about it thematically as well as day by day, what this means for you and your universe as part of your daily life, because I don't know about you all, but I'm not personally out on a ship dodging sirens, but that's sort of the vibe of this week's astrology. I just want to give a quick announcement that this week does mark the beginning of September, and the beginning of the month is always a great time to jump into my membership. It's called Magic Monthly. As the name implies, we give you a monthly look at the astrology. So here on Magic Monday, I support you with a week-by-week analysis on the energies that we are navigating. But if you, this Virgo season, are like, I need the big picture, I need to plan ahead, I need to make sure I schedule that first first date picnic on a day that's very romancy. I need to make sure I schedule my launch for days that align with it. I need to make sure that I schedule this meeting on days that are aligned for teamwork. If you're looking for a big picture look at the cosmos, make sure to check out the options around Magic Monthly. You can find it on YouTube by hitting the join button, or there's a link within my description. Comments tier is just to support the channel, which I adore you. Thank you so much. Planets tier, I make you a little printable calendar, and in the galaxies tier, I craft you a digital astrological planner with detailed information on every single transit, co-creative opportunities for each, so you can live in more alignment with the cosmos on a month-by-month basis and support the channel, which I am just so over the moon thankful for. Thank you so much. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into the Cosmic Cafe. So welcome to Haley's Cosmic Cafe. Let me know what you are sipping on today. And today's coffee goes out to you all because I got this idea from you guys. A lot of you in the comments were talking about putting collagen in your coffee. So I went ahead and I got some vanilla collagen to put in my coffee. It is divine. Apparently it's good for skin and nails and who knows. I just kept seeing it in my comments and I was like, I need to get on this. Like I'm telling you guys, I'm always reading the comments, taking your guys' feedback and insights to heart. Clearly it's showing up with my cup of coffee. And I'm gonna put this down because I don't know if you guys could tell in the intro, I was struggling. This is a large cup of coffee. My arm was legitimately getting tired trying to wrangle it. I literally feel like I just got a bicep workout. I probably need to get a little bit stronger, okay? Which luckily this Saturn brand full moon is likely going to help me with, or help all of us with, because one thing about Saturn is that Saturn most certainly makes you do your reps in wherever your Saturn work lies. You're going to want to make sure to check out the Saturn and Pisces video. I'll make sure to link it below as well as above. Wherever Saturn is transiting within your chart, that's where you are doing your reps. And just like doing reps during bicep curls at the gym, wherever it is that you work out, a lot of times it does take diligence, it does take discipline. It kind of hurts a little bit, but you will be stronger for it. And that's important to remind ourselves as we navigate this week's astrology with the full moon gathered by Saturn, is that you might be feeling tired with your Saturn work. You might be feeling drained, right? There's nothing like lifting heavy weights that make you feel weak. Like I could not even hold up this cup of coffee, right? It can make you feel weak, right? You do have to be honest with yourself about it, but you will be stronger if you continue showing up, if you continue doing the work, which is really the beckoning of Saturn. So let's go ahead and take it into Vibe Check of the Week to give you more of a big picture look at the cosmic events that we are navigating. So Vibe Check of the Week is a segment that we do here on Magic Monday where we essentially liken all of the week's astrology that we are experiencing to a real life scenario. So you might not have intricate knowledge of what exactly Venus stationing direct in Leo means, or what exactly it means that we have a full moon conjoining Saturn. So we paint a picture of a scenario that maybe in some way you can relate to. Maybe it happened to a friend, or aspects of your journey are similar, which helps you paint the picture around how this week's astrology is going to show up within your universe. So this week's astrology feels like the following scenario. Let's say you know that you need change. There's something stirring within you, a restlessness, a beckoning. You are really feeling a call that something within your life, maybe a lot of things within your life, need to change. And one arena that you're really feeling this call is around your relationship of somebody that you've been with for a long time, but you are simply coming to terms with the fact that the two of you are growing apart and not growing together. And it's a realization, a little nudge from your intuition that you're trying to hit the snooze button on. You are not trying to acknowledge this. And all of Venus retrograde, you've been grappling with, should I stay? Should I go? Is this right? Is it not? And so one night you decide to go out with your friends to get your mind off of it. You're like, I can't. I feel like I'm living in purgatory. I feel like I'm not making progress forward because I'm so back and forth on this decision. I just need a night out. I just need to turn my brain off. I just need to not think about this. And maybe that's the case for the first couple, but in this chasing of turning your mind off, you just want to escape your reality. You keep chasing that escape. You keep chasing fantasy. You just think with every single drink, that blissful feeling of feeling detached from the current anxiety of the decision and the weight of that decision that weighs upon you every single day, you're just looking to escape into a land where you don't have to deal with it. You're like, I just need a vacation from my mind and from my life. And you try to find this vacation through more and more drinks. And that works to a certain degree. But then you hit this space. Now your mind is sufficiently impaired and you hit this place where it all just hits you and you just feel this overwhelming wave of sadness and you cannot stop crying. You are out with your friends and they're like, why are you thinking about your relationship right now? But you can't run from it. It's weighing so heavily on you and you know what it is that you need to do, but that breaks your heart because you don't know how you're going to do it. You don't know how you're going to move forward. You don't know how you're going to cope. And even though this night was meant to be a vacation from reality, really you just got to the space around amplifying all of the feelings that were underneath until you cannot run from them. Because the thing about Saturn that you need to keep in mind is that Saturn will whisper and then it'll scream. So like within this vibe check, it's like this inner knowing, but it's like, I don't want to deal with that. It's heavy. I don't want to like go against the flow. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to make this huge decision. I don't want to break this person's heart. Oh my gosh. But that Saturn call isn't going away. It's just getting louder and louder and louder. It whispers and then it screams. And again, this week's astrology, there's going to be this huge beckoning to escape, to run from it. And for a lot of you don't drink, so that wouldn't necessarily be a night on the town. You can sub in whenever it would be for you. We all run in different ways. We all try to take a vacation from reality in different ways. And I do think these vacations from reality can make life worth living, right? Listening to an album can be a vacation from reality. Going for a long nature walk can be a vacation from reality, right? But with this particular full moon, there just feels to be this energy around chasing that escape. But this is a truth, this is a realization that we can't get away from. So maybe for you, it wouldn't be a night on the town. Maybe it would be like a mind-altering hallucinogenic or something of that nature, where you just want a cool experience, see some beautiful things, have some realizations, but you can't get away from the weight of what it is that you are currently navigating, the weight of what your reality is experiencing. Or maybe some of you attempt to work it away, right? You're like, I can't deal with this. I can't make this decision. I'm just gonna keep myself so busy with work so I don't need to contemplate this any longer. This is a really important full moon to keep in mind. Wherever it is that you go, there you are. And the Pisces call makes us want to escape reality. Go on a trip. Whether that's, a hallucinogenic trip, avoiding our responsibilities, procrastinating, anything that we can do to get away from our reality. But everywhere we go, whether we go there via different mind-altered states, whether we go there via different activities, this is a reality that we cannot escape from. I don't want anyone to panic. I'm not saying everybody is going to go through a breakup this week. The reason I chose this for the vibe check is because on Sunday, Venus stations direct. Which Venus retrograde, if you've observed, there's been a lot of breakups because a lot of people are rethinking what it is that they value. That's a Venus retrograde theme. They're rethinking their relationships. That's a Venus retrograde theme. And for some individuals, especially with Venus's journey, make sure to check out the video to reflect on the journey that I was showing for you. But Venus squared Uranus during its pursuit. So a lot of people were like, I'm not safe to be my authentic self within this connection. Like I said, with this week, Uranus stations retrograde. So you're really reviewing, where is it that my journey is taking me? Where is it that I feel the most me? And does this relationship support that? Are we growing together? And so with Venus stationing direct on Sunday, it is this sort of cosmic permission slip, of course, go slowly, but to be able to kind of put into place some of the realizations that we've been having for Venus retrograde. For some of you, you've been really doing the deep work around contemplating what is it that I want within a relationship. Venus direct is basically your cosmic green flag to start slowly being open towards it or looking for it within the external world. When planets essentially change directions, which Uranus is stationing retrograde. That's an inward pursuit. So again, Uranus being the planet of change, it's looking inward. Where is it that I want change? Uranus is the planet of rebellion, authenticity. Where is it that I want to rebel? Where is it that I feel authentic? That's an inward call. Whereas Venus is now turning external, or rather stationing direct, right? So it's going back out into the world. So we've had all these realizations during Venus retrograde around what is it that I value? What is it that I want within love? And now we're getting the permission slip to start enacting it within our external reality. So it's not to say that everybody's breaking up this week, don't worry. But I will say there's something sobering here. With this full moon on Saturn, no matter how many drinks you turn to, there's something very sobering about this Saturn full moon, in that we cannot run from where it is that we are being asked to do the work, from the essentially illuminations, revelations, intuitive hits that we've been getting around what it is that we know is right for us. Because Saturn is the planet of time. So in the vibe check of the week, it's just this energy around, with Uranus, I'm not feeling safe to be fully myself within this connection. With the full moon gathering with Saturn, it basically is revealing the cracks in the foundation around, is this connection, or whatever it is that you're building in life, does it stand the test of time? It puts this weight on us and this weight on our emotions. It's emotional, right? Like within the vibe check of the week, I was just getting this picture of somebody like, you know, outside of the bar, just like sobbing, all of their friends around them. You've either been that person or you've walked by that person, okay? It happens, right? Because sometimes we are chasing and chasing and chasing because we just don't want to deal with it, but it will find you. And sometimes it finds you when you're in a more vulnerable headspace because you were so desperately trying to run away from your reality. But this is not a reality check that we can avoid this week. Does this mean we should hide and stay under a rock this week? Absolutely not. This is going to be a very powerful full moon. Make sure to check out my Pisces full moon all signs forecast to find out what is baking the cosmos for you and for your chart. But what I want to say is this is not a reality check that you can avoid. It'll find you. It'll find you whichever mental state you are in. It'll find you whichever activity that you are doing. And it is a full moon that asks us to face the reality of the hard decisions that we are making, of where in life we are feeling restricted, as well as what our emotions and what our intuition has been telling us. Because that's where this reality check is coming in, is that via our intuition. Like within the vibe check, you were getting this feeling. This had been coming to the surface and you were hitting snooze. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. And now it's this alarm that you can't hit snooze on. Or maybe for some of you, you're just feeling very emotional. And with the energy of Saturn, it's like, what are my emotions trying to show me here? Rather than just numbing it, looking for something to escape or to numb reality, what would happen if I saw what it is that I can learn from this emotion? And listen, it's heavy. It's not easy to be within that space around really feeling the weight of the world. That's the energy with full moon on Saturn. We can feel the weight of the world. Not everybody is feeling this when it relates to relationships. Some of you are feeling it in regards to a tough career decision, somebody that you need to enact boundaries with. We will talk about that. That's a huge one. An arena of your life that you have to enact boundaries, difficult conversations that you need to have, a major change that you need to have within your world to be able to move forward. A lot of us are grappling with some intense themes at this time. Some of you lucky ones, okay, might get kind of like a reward energy with this full moon on Saturn. Like you've been doing the work and this full moon makes you feel proud of yourself for how much discipline that you have been chiseling. This full moon can be a recognition of that. But especially if you've been avoiding the work, avoiding the Saturn and Pisces call, whatever it is within your chart, it's been beckoning you towards. And the thing is, it's not going to be this heavy lunation for all of us. And like I said in the beginning, this is nothing to fear. For some of you lucky ones out there, this full moon is actually going to be an enormous blessing. For some of you who have been really doing your Saturn work, really been hitting the planetary gym and getting in your Saturn bicep curls, really been working with Saturn Pisces in whichever arena of your chart that it's transiting to really seek to up level, to exact discipline within that arena. stamina, this full moon can really be a celebration of that hard work and perhaps even seeing some rewards and recognition of that hard work that you have invested. Congrats! This full moon can absolutely be that. But for some of you, if you've been avoiding the Saturn classes, we'll say, in life school, this is a bit of an exam. It's going to make it clear how much you've been studying Saturn, right? Or how much you've been working with Saturn. And P.S., you do have a study guide, okay? Make sure to check out the Saturn and Pisces all sign forecast as well as the Pisces full moon forecast, because those are the Uranus that your chart is being tested on at this time. And the thing is, Saturn as a professor, as a physical trainer, whatever it is that you like to think of Saturn as, it's harsh. It's not the professor who's going to round your grade. It's not the physical trainer who's going to let you do 20 minutes on the elliptical and call it a day. It's going to challenge you in new ways. But if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And that is absolutely the vibe with this week's astrology, with Uranus stationing retrograde and a Saturnian full moon. So let's go ahead and take it into our day-by-day analysis. I want to make a couple of quick notes. First being all times that I mention are PDT, Pacific Daylight Time. So make sure to adjust into your time zone before making a mental note of the celestial events. Also, I do have a tendency to talk very fast. So feel free to play with the speed, the playback speed of my voice. You can hit the gear icon and try different speeds, whether you want to speed me up, slow me down, find the speed that aligns with how it is that you process information. And if you want to jump to a particular day, jump back to a particular day, I do provide timestamps for you below, so you can do that. And last note, if you wouldn't mind, if you do get any value out of this video as well as any other videos on my channel, little bits of engagement are super, super helpful for me to continue to create cosmic content. So I would deeply appreciate a like, a comment, subscribe, share, any little bit that you can give is so appreciated by me. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into the astrology for Monday, August 28th. So good morning, happy Monday, happy Magic Monday at that. Here is your astrological forecast for Monday, August 28th. So the astrology of Monday kind of feels like one of those days, or at least one of those fantasies, where you like walk into work and just like knock over all of the papers on your desk and be like, forget this, I'm out of here. Like Monday kind of gives me that vibe. Now, is that Haley Comet advising you to do that? No, but it does feel a day in which you're going to want to stick up for yourself. You're going to want to rebel against the man or the structure of how things are done, and you're going to want to essentially push back a little bit. So let's chat about the intricacies of why and other ways that this can come to the surface. So the day starts off with the moon transiting the serious, somber sign of Capricorn. Now, the moon is in its detriment in Capricorn. It does not like being there, as the themes are very mismatched. Capricorn is about our external career and reputation, and moon is about our internal, essentially, landscape, our emotions. And so when the moon is transiting the sign of Capricorn, we can be internalizing our own success or lack thereof. And the thing about the moon Capricorn is that there will never be a time in which we feel like we've achieved enough or done enough. And that's important to remember, because now we're in Virgo season. So there's always going to be this loop in your head as we navigate Virgo season around you're not doing enough, you're not being enough, because Capricorn is this energy around the big picture of where it is that we should be. And with the moon meeting up with Pluto, there's this weight around I'm not where I should be. I should be a CEO right now. I should have 5 kids now. Whatever your big picture, that's where I should be. There's a weight there. And emotionally, you could be feeling less than because you are not there. You can also be internalizing any sort of feedback from authority figures or for bosses or anything of that nature. The moon, before it conjoins Pluto, it also sextiles Neptune, which is sort of the dream around just like knocking off all the papers and being like, forget this, I'm out of here. Because again, maybe where you're experiencing this mismatch is like, my career should look like this, but it looks like this. I want to be working for myself, but instead I'm getting to work on Monday morning and I have this like mean email from my boss, or I have this annoying customer. Like things feel a little heavy, and we're internalizing it a little bit more so, kind of letting it fester around it should be different than this. And we're also just feeling more emotional in general because we are building to the full moon on Wednesday. But with the Capricorn moon, it conjoins Pluto at 4:49, at which point it is void until 7:32 a.m. PDT. So when it comes to void moons, when the moon is void in important tasks we must avoid. It's not the most optimal time to take on important tasks, anything of that nature. But again, with the conjunction of Pluto, this could be like waking up just with a weight on your chest, or like a panic around, I have so much I have to do this week, or like checking your email and an email from your boss and be like, oh, I got bad feedback, or like having a customer complaint or a bad review on your boutique. Like there's something where it's like, okay. And again, with Uranus stationing retrograde on the same day, we feel planets when they station a lot, which can make us want to rebel. Like a customer leaves a bad review on your boutique, you want to clap back in the Yelp comments and be like, how dare you? You try opening a boutique. Or your boss gives you feedback and you're like, forget this, I'm out, like knocking over all your papers. There can be a call to rebel. Things feel heavy and we're wanting to rebel against it. But what I do want to say is this, is that at 7:32, the moon enters Aquarius, which does lighten a little bit from the energy of Capricorn. We can be thinking more big picture, thinking a little bit more detached, or thinking a little bit more innovatively around how can I change the situation, especially with the Aquarius moon trining Mars in Libra around, okay, I did not like this person's tone when they left this Yelp review on my boutique, but what can I learn from this? Because with Mars now in Libra, Libra is the energy of balance. It's the energy of peacekeeping and of harmony. And so with Mars in Libra, we can find that we are more likely to want to advocate and assert ourselves in ways that are a little bit more balanced between both people's needs. So with this energy of Aquarius moon trining Mars in Libra, it's basically getting into, okay, what are we going to do about this? How am I going to advocate for myself when it relates to this feedback that I got from my boss? How am I going to change my work situation if I'm waking up with so much stress that I just like know something needs to change? How can I take this feedback that this individual gave me on my Yelp account without being too harsh, right? Like there's this energy around where we can take things into our own hands and maybe even working together with other people. Like the energy of Aquarius moon and Mars in Libra, teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, so it would be powerful to get people together around whatever it is that's feeling heavy currently. Because like I said, this week, especially as we get closer to the Pisces full moon, it's kind of a pressure cooker. There's something that we can't avoid. There's something that we can't run away from, right? With the full moon gathering with Saturn. So whether you talk about it with other individuals, get feedback, right? Have a mastermind, or slide in someone's DMs who also has a boutique and ask, how do you deal with bad reviews, especially if they're unfounded? Or maybe even getting together with people that you work with. So with the energy of the Aquarius moon trining Mars in Libra, ask, what is in my hands at this moment? How can I work with others in order to move forward? And yes, with Uranus retrograde, where am I craving change? Where am I feeling like it is not safe to be myself? Where do I feel like I have to fundamentally hide aspects of myself? Does that show up within my friendships? Does that show up within my relationship, within my job? And where is this restlessness coming from? Right? Because that's the thing about Uranus energy. So I want to let you know, firstly, outer planets are commonly retrograde. They're more retrograde in the year than they are direct. So it's not the most intensely personal thing. However, we do feel it when it changes directions. And with Monday marked with the Uranus energy, certainly there can be some rebellion around you can't tell me what to do or how to work. Again, continue to stay anchored into that idea of teamwork. Okay, there's something inspiring about taking things into your own hands, feeling motivated by others, getting energy off others, getting ideas from others. So something powerful about gathering, okay? Whether you do that in a work context or maybe just gathering with friends after, calling someone. Again, it's an important reminder you are not in this alone. However it is that you find your community, your people, you are not in this alone. And with the trine to Mars and Libra, you can feel more empowered as a result. And maybe they see something that you're not seeing about the situation. That's what's powerful about working together. And the thing about Uranus is you're going to want to rebel. You're going to want to rebel against your own life. Like this is sort of the vibe in the vibe check that you decide to go out. You're like, this is too much. I just need to do something different. And you just need to go out in the town in my cheetah mini skirt and drink a vodka soda. Again, sub in the details of what that would look like for you when you're just feeling overwhelmed by the demands of life and you're like, I just need to have some fun. I just need to get my mind off of it. That can be a call to rebel, to knock all the papers off our desk and be like, F this. Like, if people are gonna leave me bad reviews on my boutique, I'm done. If my boss is gonna give me bad feedback after all that I've sacrificed, I'm done, right? I'm gonna go do my own thing. And again, a lot of the illuminations that are coming in this week can be powerful. Like with Uranus retrograde, we're really looking inward around where is it that I'm craving genuine change within my life? And maybe that is within career. But I don't think necessarily knocking all the papers on the ground is the best way to proceed in that, right? Because sometimes we lose the lesson if we give up too soon. Like, if you allow that one bad Yelp comment on your boutique to make you shut your doors, that's exactly what you're gonna do when you launch your next business and your next business. Because with these Saturn sort of reality checks and tough criticism that's coming in when we have a Saturnian full moon, is that you can't avoid it. Life is Saturn. It will be filled with bad reviews and hard conversations and tough decisions. It's just it. And sometimes when we just rebel suddenly and just walk away, we miss out on the lesson that's awaiting us on the other side of that challenge. So again, noting it. So if you do feel called around, I just want to stop doing this. I don't want to work here anymore. I just want to break off all of my papers. It is my recommendation, knowing that Mercury is retrograde and at this moment Venus is still retrograde. It would not be my advice based on the astrology to impulsively quit, but with Uranus energy, note that as data where it is that you are craving the space to be your own person. You could be craving the space to be your own person within your relationship, being like, I just need to go out. I just need to do my own thing. You're always here, breathing my air and eating my snacks. Get out of here. Like, let me live. Let me be. Like, that could absolutely be a Uranus energy. There's this call where we're wanting to do our own thing. We're wanting to rebel. We're wanting to break away. And for a lot of us, Uranus energy can make us buzzing with electricity around something needs to change, or I'm on the cusp of something. A lot of people feel Uranus as anxiety sometimes. A lot of people will feel it as being very, very restless, feeling very, very impulsive. And with it now retrograde, again, it's not an external energy retrograde, it's internal. So it's like contemplating, where is this restlessness coming from? Why is it that I want to go out in the town with my friends? Why is it that I want to kick my partner out of my home? Why is it that I want to quit my job? Like, what within me is calling for its expression? Because that's a core part of Uranus, is that Uranus is where it is that we are fiercely and radically authentic, our own person. And it can make it clear around where it is that it is not safe for us to be that version of ourselves, where it is that we have to hide our interests to the other people at work, where it is that we feel like our partner only understands 5% of the person that we are, where our friends don't get the full depth. Like with the energy of Uranus, it's really around ways that we break the mold, the ways that we do not fit in. And with Uranus retrograde, it's really observing, what are the parts of me that are wanting to break out, that are wanting to express themselves, that are wanting to be seen, that are wanting to be wild, right? Because we talked about this a couple of Magic Mondays ago, in that Uranus energy can be the energy around wanting to rebel and be on the town and be scandalous, because, you know, Saturn's not the only planet that we can hit snooze on. When we snooze Uranus, the call to want to break out of the mold and do something wild and do something crazy can get louder and louder. And rather than just a fun night out in the town to kind of let out some steam that way, it could be this energy around, I need to dye my hair and quit my job. Like, again, we have to honor these planetary calls as they come up. So to answer Uranus on Monday, it would be an aligned day to do something spontaneous, break the mold. If you're feeling like life has gotten mundane, break the mold. Like, I'm not saying that you can't go out this week or that you can't have fun, that you just need to sit there and think about Saturn, but all I'm saying is don't expect to avoid it. Use these experiences, these spontaneous experiences, to enhance the depth. Go into them really having the intention around spirit. Allow me to, you know, go to the beach today to connect to what it is that I need to know right now. Or spirit, let me go out dancing with my friends and allow me to reconnect with these aspects of myself that I do feel like are dormant. Don't think that you can run away from the work this week. Have experiences, have fun with Uranus energy, break the mold, try something new, express yourself in new ways. But don't expect those problems to disappear. They'll just be waiting you there, even if you have different hair, even if you're out on the dance floor in a cheetah miniskirt, your problems will be there as well. So don't think that you can avoid them with the quit job, with the dyed hair, with the drinks and the cheetah miniskirt. Wherever you go, there you are. And there's Saturn. It's that sort of week. But Uranus energy could also be creative. So maybe again, teamwork, brainstorming to think of creative new solutions, ingenious new solutions could be helpful, because all in all, Monday is giving pretty productive. You might wake up with a jolt with the moon on Pluto and oh my gosh, I didn't do that thing, or oh my gosh, this email, or there's so much to do. But I will say the day continues at a more productive pace, particularly when you are working with others, particularly when it has to do with new ideas or something of that nature. And that rebellious vibe of Monday doesn't quite subside by Tuesday, let me tell you that. Like, firstly, Uranus stationed around 7:39 p.m. on Monday night, so we're still absolutely feeling some reverberations of Uranus essentially stationing. So there absolutely can be this call to want to rebel against some aspect of your life, something that you want to change. There's a call to draw inward around, where am I unsatisfied? Where do I not feel safe to express myself? Where is it that I want to break out of the mold of what's being expected of me? And let's also keep in mind that the moon is transiting the sign Aquarius, which is very rebellious. But the Tuesday brand of rebellion isn't so much rebelling by brushing all the papers off the desk, but more so wanting to rebel within your own way by looking at Pinterest when you really should be working, or online shopping instead of attuning to the tasks, or going for a long walk rather than cleaning the house, kind of wanting to do your own thing for a little bit, because the Aquarius full moon essentially creates this fixed T-square between Venus and Jupiter. So last week we talked about the Venus square Jupiter and how it can make us a little bit more overindulgent as it relates to money, as it relates to sweets, anything Venusian, as it relates to love, right? And the Aquarius moon activates that. And Aquarius is a stubborn sign. Let's keep in mind, this is a fixed T-square in the cosmos, and fixed signs are stubborn. They're set in their ways. Aquarius is fixed air. Yes, they are innovative and inventive, but when they make their mind up, it is set, right? Like, you cannot tell an Aquarius what to do. Try. I literally dare you. They typically don't take well as it relates to authority, or at least rules that don't make sense to them. So with the energy of the Aquarius moon, there can be this energy around, I don't want to do what my boss is telling me to do, my partner is telling me to do. And with the square to Venus and Jupiter, I just want to do what I want to do. I want to go to the beach rather than work. I don't want to clean. I want to do my own thing. With the Venus square Jupiter separating with the cosmos, always wise to be discerning as it relates to purchases, as it relates to to-dos, because there's just a vibe on Tuesday where it's like, I don't want to. Like, we're not in the mood to do anything that doesn't make sense to us and that doesn't feel fun and exciting. And keep in mind, we are building to the full moon on Wednesday. And especially if you are somebody who is lunar ruled, you're Cancer rising, you're in a moon perfected year, you are more sensitive to what the moon is doing. But all of us, especially if this is a more pivotal full moon for you, make sure to check out the Pisces full moon forecast to find out more about that. You feel this restlessness build, right? Some people feel really drained around full moons. Some people have a ton of energy, but it's hard to focus. And keep in mind, with Mercury retrograde in Virgo, we're not gonna want to gloss over the details or to rush anything. But what I will say is with this fixed T-square, we're not in the mood to do anything unless it was our idea. We could be rebelling in our own little silent way via online shopping rather than doing the tasks, going to the beach rather than cleaning the house, right? We're just wanting to do what's fun. And there's all kind of this restless energy building with the full moon. So you could have a lot of energy, but not know where exactly to put it, or it could just feel kind of scattered is what the vibe feels, especially since the Aquarius moon will also square Uranus a little later that day. So listen to your energy, honor wherever your mind is. Your mind can feel light years away from this planet. Like physically, you can be at your work desk, but mentally you are contemplating gravity, you're contemplating new inventions, you're contemplating what is the meaning of it all. Like, one of my favorite activities to do with my Aquarius placement friends, which I have a lot of them because I adore Aquarius energy, is just at any point in time, just ask them, what are you thinking about right now? Because it's always the most random thing. I'm like, where does your mind go? They're just in their own world, which is why when it comes to Aquarius placements, they'll have to kind of like withdraw into their own world. Like, a lot of my Aquarius Aquarius friends, you kind of hear from them kind of sporadically, and it's never anything that I take personally, because I just think with the energy of Aquarius, they have to kind of withdraw, contemplate their own world, their own projects, and they come back with all of this random insight to share, all these random ideas when they do pop in. So all I want to say, allow Aquarians their space to withdraw. And honestly, as we build to the full moon, maybe it's just because of the building emotions, you might feel a call to want to withdraw in order to connect to your own energy, connect to your own essence, anchor into what feels good for you. Because like I said, we escape with the building Pisces full moon. We escape in a myriad of ways. Not all of us are like in the vibe check out on the town, right? Trying to avoid this major decision. Some of us escape by just being around people. Like if I'm not alone, then I won't have to contemplate all of this. Or some of us avoid our tasks by just keeping us so buried with responsibilities and errands so that we dare not have these thoughts come to the surface. And I think on Tuesday, there's this energy, like obviously with the fixed T-square with Venus and Jupiter, there's a rebellion around, I just want to do what's fun. I just want to have fun. Summer's ending here in the Northern Hemisphere. And so you could be like, I just want to go to the beach. I just want to do my own thing. And again, honor that call if you do feel the call to withdraw. If you do feel a call to go do your own thing. There's a reason why Aquarius is the popular loner archetype, right? There's parts to them that is very connected with other people, but also needing time alone in order to contemplate their own inner world and inventions and whatever the heck goes down in Aquarius placements' minds. It's always so fascinating. And also, some of you read tarot, and so you may know that in tarot, the Hermit card is associated with Virgo. And so I just want to say here that honor that call to withdraw. If you are craving space in solitude, if you are craving space to really look inward, because like I said, this full moon is asking for clarity. Now, some of us can find that clarity when you're with friends, when we're chatting with people. But all I want to say is that if you have been avoiding what's coming up, not wanting to hear your own thoughts, so you just keep yourself busy every moment of the day, keep yourself around people, because if you slow down, then you have to face it or you have to deal with it. I just want to say, honor this call to come inward. We have Venus retrograde, we have Mercury retrograde, we have the sun in Virgo, which in tarot is associated with the Hermit card. We have the moon transiting Aquarius, which yes, has to do with groups and friendships, but also has to do with being brave enough to follow our own path and to honor the ways that we differ from the crowd. So all I want to say, especially with the Aquarius moon squaring Uranus and sextiling Chiron, to thine own self be true. Sometimes we do need to detach from the daily rush of it all, from being connected to people all the time in order to find our own perspective, because with North Node in Aries, it is important that we follow what feels right for us, even if other people don't necessarily understand it. What I also want to express here is that when it comes to this T-square, just to a very mundane level, you could be struggling with focus. Like T-square is like a fight within the cosmos, okay? And now two of the planets are Venus and Jupiter. They're not really trying to like throw hands necessarily, but we can be wrestling with ourselves trying to focus, right? Trying to get something done. And I just want to say, if you have a T-square within your chart, yes, it can signify certain aspects of yourself that are in conflict with one another. But it might be helpful and healing to know that most very successful people have T-squares within their birth chart. A lot of them do, because T-squares, because there's natural parts of you that feel to be in conflict, when you go into high stress scenarios, these are the individuals who are able to keep calm a little easier, because they're always in crisis mode a little bit. So when it comes to very stressful circumstances, they can navigate that a little bit easier, as well as have a ability to be able to problem solve. But the downside about T-squares, particularly with the fixed energy that we're experiencing on Tuesday, fixed energy is very stubborn. And to a very mundane level, we could be battling with ourselves, wrestling with ourselves to stay focused. Like I said, it's very restless energy on Tuesday. You can be battling with authority figures, whether you're kind of like silent protesting by not doing what it is that they want you to do. You can be protesting against your industry. Like this would be a really creative day. If there's like a certain industry standard, like, oh, everybody does these nice Instagram graphics. Be like, bam, this is the way that I want my Instagram feed to look. That's the thing about having Aquarius placements, is that there is a inherent distaste for doing things the way that everybody else does them, which can be a beautiful thing if you allow that authenticity to come through. And that's why you have to detach from groups every so often to clue into how it is that you want to express yourself. So really lovely day for my creatives to sort of tune into ways that you want to express yourself that may be different than what the mold is. And just be mindful around being super stubborn at work, not listening to other people's points of view, thinking that you know best. And that emphasis of thinking that you know best can show up either at work in very mundane circumstances, as it has to do with loved ones, but it can also show up in our connection to spirit as well, which the Pisces full moon is reminding us. Because what I say about Aquarius placements, they don't like being told what to do. And sometimes spirit, your connection to God, what have you, it's not that a literal figure comes down from the sky and tells you what to do, except for that one time that God came to my ex-boyfriend in a dream and told him to break up with me. If you watch that Magic Monday, you'll know what I mean. It's not that it comes through that overt typically, but there is that knowing. And sometimes we can get these downloads or get these feelings and be like, no, no. And with the Venus, Jupiter involved in the T-square, attempt to shop it away, attempt to drink it away, indulge it away, eat it away, date it away, right? Because Venus is what feels good, but it doesn't go away. And sometimes we can be a little rebellious with spirit. Like, I know this is what I'm feeling. I know this is what the signs are telling me, but I don't want to listen, right? We can try to snooze spirit. And with the energy of the Aquarius moon and this fixed T-square being like, I know best, that can't possibly be it. Like, so really ask yourself this week, where am I snoozing spirit? It's not necessarily around needing to depart a relationship. Maybe you're snoozing spirit around not cutting out that bad habit that you know it's time for you to cut out. Maybe you're snoozing spirit by not reviewing that friendship with somebody who makes you so incredibly drained. Maybe you're snoozing spirit by not starting that business, not writing that book, just continually snoozing it with the energy of the fixed T-square. Like, okay, what does spirit know? Whatever. I see all the repeating numbers. I see the signs. I heard my prayers answers, but I don't want to listen to that right now because that will challenge me in new ways. I don't want to listen. And again, you can snooze spirit all you want, but it's not going anywhere and Saturn's not going anywhere. And the realizations of what's coming to the surface this week aren't going anywhere either. And the moon will be void at 8:04 p.m. Closing aspect is a square to Uranus. So you could be feeling restless, hard time sleeping. Your mind can be all over the place, having really random thoughts, really random ideas. It can be hard to be sleeping because you're thinking about what aliens would smell like. You're thinking about why gum was invented, what the world would look like without gravity. Your mind's just everywhere and anywhere, and it can be really hard to sleep. You could be feeling very restless. So on Wednesday, August 30th, we have the Pisces full moon. So it lands at 6:36 p.m. PDT. So for a lot of you, this may land on the 31st. So make sure to check out your time zone to see where exactly, and make sure to check out your Pisces full moon forecast to learn where spirit is trying to get your attention, where reality is trying to get your attention, right? Because let's bring to the surface this axis, because this full moon, we're juggling this enormous juxtaposition. We always are with every single full moon. We have the sun in one sign, the moon in the opposing sign. But in terms of the themes of this full moon, it is a complete juxtaposition, and the answer to this full moon is blending them. So let's break it down. The sun is in Virgo. Virgo is all about the little details of our life. It's very grounded. That's that energy I said in the intro. Our feet planted in the earth, observing what is wrong, observing the data of what is being brought to our awareness. Because Mercury is retrograde and Virgo is all about essentially attuning to the bits that are coming up. And like I said, we can try to snooze spirit. We can try to snooze what it is that we've been observing by attempting to avoid reality, which is where we get into Virgo's opposite, which is about Pisces. So whereas Virgo is about the little details of life and fixing errors, Pisces is about attuning to the perfection of it all. The perfection of the universe and the perfection of people. And you might be saying, Haley, Comet, no one's perfect. But from the Pisces perspective, it's all perfect. Virgo is like the side of perfect around trying to find perfection and driving itself crazy because it's never up to its own standards. Pisces is the acceptance around everything is perfect. Everything is unfolding exactly as it is meant to. It's about attuning to the beauty of people. It's about unconditionally loving people. Whereas Virgo has a lot of conditions, right? It has a lot of little bits of information, a lot of little bits of critique. And this full moon truly is calling for a balance of the two, because either in abundance can be too much of a bad thing. Like if we're too in the Virgo side, we are constantly dialing into how everything is wrong. The people in our life could be better, our house could be better, we could be better, right? And yes, that's valuable data. Like Virgo is gifted in being able to attune to ways that things can be improved, ways to organize and ways to analyze. This is helpful data. But if we're overly in that side, we are not tuned into the divinity of our experience, the bigger picture. It just seems like life is a series of problems to be solved and mundane matters to handle, which to a surface level, it can appear that way. But look deeper, there's so much more, and it's all beautiful. Even the errors, even the mistakes, it's all beautiful. It's all unfolding exactly as it's meant to. Does that mean that it's ideal? Absolutely not. But the energy of Pisces, really the higher vibration of it, is this energy of acceptance and being able to feel connected to the bigger picture, even as we're navigating some rocky waters, trusting that the currents of spirit is encasing us and taking us to where it is that we want to go. Because it's beautiful to feel connected to source energy. It's beautiful to feel held and to feel supported as you navigate the rivers that you are swimming through, right? Whatever it is that you're moving through. But it's super important for everyone, especially Pisces placements, to understand that you do have agency. Because the energy of Pisces, it can be this energy around just being swept in wherever the current is taking us without realizing we have fins. We could break away from this school of fish and go our own way, or fight against the current, find a new river, right? But that's hard. It's hard to swim upstream. And that's the energy of this full moon on Saturn, is this contemplation around sometimes the perfection of the big picture. You can feel so supported by spirit, and you still have to have tough conversations. You cannot avoid it. You cannot escape from it. You still have to make decisions. You still have to show up, to have discipline. You have to swim upstream, and it's important for you to remember that you have the ability to swim upstream. Because Pisces as a sign, it is a fish clearly fully engulfed in the environment. And I always say, dirty water, sick fish. Which is why Pisces need to be a little bit more diligent than others, to be very, very discerning, which is where the Virgo part comes in, about what it is that they allow within their world, right? Because all Pisces live in their own world. Like Pisces as a sign has been so disappointed by reality that they have had to make their own one. and it is a good thing, so long as you're being discerning about what it is that you allow in your world and ensuring that your world is anchored within this one, okay? It's not escaping into your own one, right? It's not just allowing the currents to take you and take you into a school of fish of people that you do not want to absorb their qualities and water that is not good for you. That's not it. It's being able to create your own world around, okay, this river is not working for me. These fish are not working for me. I'm gonna swim like crazy upstream and create my own world that is better for me, in which I want to be like the people that I surround myself with, in which I am not swimming through toxic waters, because Pisces as an energy is more susceptible than most to their environment. Think of the other water signs: Cancer the crab, Scorpio the scorpion. They have some exoskeleton. Pisces does not. They become what it is that they are around. And every Pisces goes through that time in their life in which they do feel like a victim of their own circumstances, right? Or they even question, am I strong enough to survive? I'm a water sign. Water is the emotional element, and I don't have anything to protect myself. I'm not cut out for this world. I can't do this, right? And every Pisces battles against that. And Saturn in Pisces is really asking Pisces placements to understand that you cannot control the direction of where the current is pushing you, but you can swim upstream. It's gonna be hard, right? With Saturn and Pisces, it's gonna be hard to go against the grain of how you've always done things, or the people you've always been around, or the bad habits that you've been encased in. It's hard. This full moon's hard. It's by Saturn, but it's worth it in order to cultivate, create, and curate your own inner world that is genuinely for you, which is why like Pisces is represented by two fish representing conflicting desires. But it's fascinating because when you talk to Pisces, a lot of them will design the most beautiful lives for themselves, like literally taking elements of their dream world and incarnating them here. And you may know a lot of Pisces, they create their own dreamland within their own making and kind of let this physical world fall by the wayside. It's a balance. That's where the two come in. Because the downside of attuning to the perfection of it all, right, to accepting, okay, this is how things are, is having that energy around being complacent, around, okay, well, universe sent me into this relationship, so I guess I'm just gonna be with them forever. Or universe sent me into this friend group, so I guess I'm just gonna do whatever they're doing. Or universe sent me into this job, so I guess I'm just gonna do this. And again, because Pisces is trying to create their own world, sometimes they can seek that perfection through escapism or coping in order to deal with it and just feel like, well, this is what life is. Because Pisces is about spirit. And you might be like, well, if universe loved me, then universe would just take away this relationship. I wouldn't have to have this awkward conversation or make this decision. No, no one can do your push-ups for you, not even spirit. Like all spirit can do is basically nudge you via knowing, via symbols within you around what is right for you. It's the meeting of those challenges that changes you, right? Like you can be praying, I just want them to decide it for me. I just want the path to be made for me. But sometimes you need to make it. You need to take charge of which direction you're swimming in, even if it's hard to swim upstream. And so this Pisces full moon is saying it's not going to be easy, but sometimes you do need to swim upstream when it relates to where spirit is nudging you, where the universe is nudging you, and where you are guiding you. On this note of this balance between the perfection of it all and the acceptance of Pisces with the improvement focus of Virgo, this also extends to our relationships, both with others as well as with ourselves. Because Pisces is the domain of unconditional love. Yet it's gathered with Saturn, which most certainly has some conditions, right? And you do need to have conditions for your love. And this is hard because Pisces energy is attuning to the perfection that exists within this person, even if they're treating you poorly. Even if it does not stand the test of time, still looking at this person through this lens around all that exists within them that is so right and so pure and so special. Even if the reality isn't lining up with that, like they're not living up to the potential that you see within them or that you see within their spirit. And with the full moon on Saturn, it's understanding that unconditional love does need boundaries. When you love someone, you do need to be honest with them. When you love someone, you do need to have boundaries as it relates to your time, your attention, and whether or not you want to have them within your river. You don't need to swim by them if they're treating you badly and poisoning your water. Because sometimes Pisces energy can be the part of us that is very complacent around, well, they're going through a hard time and they didn't mean to poison my water. It's like, I know it's going to be hard, but sometimes you got to swim upstream and find a better river with clean water for you to drink in. You can love that person without enabling their bad behavior. You can love that person so much that you state your boundaries firmly around the behavior that you will and will not accept. As well as if any of you are around individuals who have a lot of really tough self-sabotaging behavior that's hard for you to witness and to see. This is a full moon that's asking you to review if you are enabling that. Again, everybody makes their own decisions. I'm not saying the onus is on you to fix everybody's problems. That would be overly in the Virgo side. But it is saying with this energy of Saturn, like it might be hard, but whether it's limiting access of your time, of your energy, or maybe even being honest, like, hey, I do not like how it is that you treat yourself doing this. I love you, but I do not love what it is that you're doing to yourself, because that is a form of love. Like the downside of Pisces energy can be like, oh, it's all good. It'll work itself out. And again, it's a difficult conversation a lot of times to have. It's very much swimming upstream, right? Sometimes it's easier to just, oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But unconditional love means honesty around what's genuinely best for that person's well-being. Now, this can also mean having to be honest with yourself. Like I said, if you've been trying to snooze spirit, your intuition has been trying to tell you, you've got to cut this bad habit, you've got to start this business, you got to do this thing. It's gonna be hard with the full moon on Saturn, but it's time. You also have to be honest with yourself. again, there's going to be this siren's call with this full moon to just avoid it. Just avoid it. Let's go out drinking. I don't want to think about it. Let me just not say anything. It'll work itself out. But with the energy of Saturn and Pisces reminding us, yes, you are a child of the universe, right? Swimming through the stars with these fellow souls. But you have to do human stuff with this energy of Saturn, which is having tough conversations, making challenging decisions, having discipline, being honest, being rooted within reality, and understand that this too is unconditional love. This is true soulful self-care. This is too spirituality. It might not feel like that at first glance, but it is. Look deeper. So this full moon's hard because it's requiring us to not be complacent, not just go with the flow, which is challenging because that's exactly what Pisces energy wants to do. It wants to go with the flow. But if we go with the flow with where the sirens are calling us, there can be some rocks awaiting. So the Saturn energy doesn't want that to happen. And it's reminding us we do have the ability to navigate our boat away from the rocks and to listen to what spirit is trying to tell us, even if it's a bitter pill to swallow. Because we can try to drink it away, we could try to indulge it away, but it's not going away. It's awaiting us as soon as we have that come down, as soon as the hangover hits, the dream is popped, the sirens are discovered are an illusion, we come down off the cloud, like it's there. So are you gonna face it now or snooze it for later? I tell a lot of stories in Magic Monday, and when it comes to dating stories, I feel like I tell a lot of the bad ones. So I just want to highlight, I've had some amazing experiences. Like I've had some amazing boyfriends. There's so much sweetness. There's so much love within this world. Never forget that, okay? I've had sweet, loving, amazing relationships with people whom I still adore but are not in my life. Again, Pisces is that unconditional energy, but sometimes that unconditional, it needs boundaries, right? From ourselves. We can still love them as a soul without navigating through life with them, right? And one of these people was one of my major long-term relationships, and such a sweet, lovely person. And I think those breakups are always really challenging when you love this person so much, but you just know it's not right, or you just know your journey is taking you somewhere else. It's so hard. I was really getting this really strong knowing within my heart, with my spirit. I just knew I had to depart the relationship, and that's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking, but it was an act of love, like both for myself, understanding I love you as a soul, I just need to be swimming in a different river, right? But both for that person too, Ren. I know to a human level, you want this to work out, but in terms of what it is that we want out of life, it's just so different. I love you too much to want you to compromise on what it is that you want. And I'm sure you love me so much that you would want me to go out and live my dreams. And so it was an act of love, but I kept snoozing it. I did not want to deal with it because it's hard. There's so many decisions you have to make, and just with friend groups and with drama, it's just like this whole thing. There's so much to it. And so I was snoozing spirit. I'm like, go away, don't, I can't. Until finally I was at this one-day festival. It was like the San Diego festival that I was there with my friends, and I was just like, you know what, let's have some fun. Things were just bogging me down. There was a lot happening at my job that I was working at the time. My relationship felt like it was falling apart, and I was having a harder time silencing spirit and not listening. But I was like, forget it, I'm just gonna go to this festival and I'm just gonna have a good time. And I did have to bring my work phone because, like I said, things with work were going crazy, and I did have to be checking my email. I wasn't technically working that day, but things were going down. And I just wanted to escape from everything. I was like, I just want to dance with my friend. I just want to avoid everything. And when I tell you, reality found me with such a quickness in so many ways. My boyfriend at the time was freaking out about something and like needing my advice on something. Work, I still shudder when I think about all the things that went down this day. Work was blowing up my phone. I'm telling you, blowing up my phone, like emails of things that were on fire that I was having to fix at this loud festival. People are trying to talk to me. My friend who I was with was also not really having a great day and like kind of needed some advice and guidance. And she also was visiting from a different country, so her phone didn't have like service here, like roaming, for her to be able to like look things up or like communicate with people. She would be using my phone. And so I was trying to like entertain my friend, be at this event. People were talking to me, but I was like solving work issues on my work phone. My boyfriend was freaking out on this phone. She kept asking for that phone, and then he would be mad because I wasn't replying. all of that. And let me just highlight, I'm not going to bust myself out, but let me just highlight, I was not sound of mind. Okay. And I'm dealing with all of this. And I did not know that all this was going to go down when I made that decision to not be completely sound of mind. And when I tell you my brain almost exploded, I was like, this was supposed to be this just escape from it all, but it found me. And that's the thing. Reality finds you. You could try to drink it away, party it away, dance it away. It'll find you. I'm still getting so uncomfy when I think about this day because it was such a stressful day. Have you ever been simultaneously chewed out by a boss, a client, a boyfriend, and then also a friend because she didn't have a phone? You know, she's dancing by me and I'm just like stressed going like this. She's like, well, this isn't that much fun. My attention was divided into so many different things. And I just had this moment where I was like, I can't, you know, I know what it is that I need to do because I've known what it is that I needed to do. Because again, when you let that insight, that illumination really hit you around, I gotta quit this bad habit. I gotta let go of this friend. I gotta break up with this person. I gotta start this business. I gotta move, whatever it is. There's an acknowledgement, but then you've got to do something about it. You got to swim upstream. So it was the beginning of that journey of just like understanding I cannot be with this person. It's nothing towards that person. It was just an illumination in that moment around, okay, I know what I need to do. And it sucks. It's a surrender to spirit, but it's an acknowledgement of responsibility around this is gonna suck. It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be harsh. You're gonna have to swim like hell to go upstream, but you know what it is that you need to do. So listen to your intuition, listen to that spiritual guidance. Not everybody will be experiencing that. Being at a festival with multiple phones, a mind that's not working properly, and multiple people that are mad at you, and many problems to be fixed, and many things to be done, as well as internal dilemmas around, I think I need to relieve this relationship. Oh God, that's going to be a lot. Not everyone's going to have an experience like that. But what I will say on Wednesday is that your emotions can be trying to get your attention. Your intuition can be trying to get your attention. And again, it might be kind of a heavy knowing around, oh, dang, okay, I hear you. This is a habit that's spiraled out of control. Okay, got it. Hey, I've got to be honest with this friend. Like, I love them too much to continue to watch them do this to themselves, right? Because I just want to highlight this really quick. You can love someone and still love them from a distance. Like I said, with that particular situation, I love that person. There's been friends who are not in my life any longer whom I love, but sometimes we just need to have boundaries, or like our lives take us in different directions. That love that you created is still real. Like, I think if you've ever loved someone and seen the perfection that is their soul, you can't ever not love them, is my opinion on it. Maybe that's very Pisces of me. But it's also loving yourself enough to understand just because I love somebody doesn't mean they need to swim alongside me within my river. Like, if someone's poisoning your water, it might be best to love them from a distance. For some of you, maybe you're not feeling this with people. Maybe you're feeling this with work. I love what it is that I do. I want to give people all this energy. Love with boundaries, compassion with boundaries. It's necessary, or else these other fishies are gonna be in your river and they're gonna poison your water, and you're not gonna be able to recharge the energy stores that you need, right? You're gonna soak up all of their energy. So it's really about loving others so much that you are willing to put in the conditions, whether those conditions are distance, right? Whether those conditions are maybe spending less time, maybe those conditions are honesty, maybe those conditions are boundaries. And it's also loving yourself enough to establish conditions sometimes as well, around being honest, around this is a really bad habit. This is something that has got to change. This is something that has got to be improved. This is something that I've got to work towards. Because I talked about this a lot in the Pisces Full Moon forecast, but I just want to say there's lots of things that are God-given, certainly, but it's our responsibility, right? It's a gift from God, but it's a responsibility for our soul. And that it's your responsibility to chisel it. It's your responsibility to excavate it. It's your responsibility to share it with the world. And you know that feeling. If you feel you have a gift or a talent within you, every moment that you're not tapping into it, you could just feel so unfulfilled because you're like, there's something within me that just like needs to be shared. It can feel like a burden, honestly. And it's your responsibility to show up for that talent, to show up from that gift from God, right? That's Pisces energy, but it takes chiseling. That's a Saturn energy. You might have this God-given talent for piano, but it takes that discipline in order to be the best pianist that you possibly can be. It takes boundaries with your time and your energy in order to show up for that gift, for that purpose that was given to you by God, universe, source energy, whatever it is that you want to call it. No, I can't go to brunch. I have to work on my album. No, rather than spending this money on cocktails, I'm going to invest in a typewriter so that I can write my novel. Having that higher level calling that we're looking for sometimes takes making these tough decisions, right? Enacting these boundaries. And that takes being honest with yourself around, where am I just being complacent with this gift, right? Floating downstream, knowing that I have this talent, this gift within me, but not doing the work to swim upstream to share it with the world. Where am I escaping reality rather than enhancing it, right? Where am I living out my dreams only with my fantasies without putting in the effort to make it happen within reality as well? I could literally sit here and talk for about 5 more hours on this Pisces full moon, but for both of our sake, I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Make sure to check out the Pisces full moon video, and just know, as you navigate Wednesday, a lot of emotions. Some of them can be heavy with the conjunction to Saturn. Not only feeling your own emotions, but also others, which is why you have to have boundaries with your time and energy. Dirty water, sick fish. Soaking up, right? We're all honorary fish this week, okay? And just being conscious around what rivers you're swimming in and what it is that you are soaking up. Because maybe for some of you, you're in a toxic workplace, right? And like I said, we have retrograde planets. It's not my recommendation to quit. With the energy of Saturn, what boundaries are needed? How can I energetically protect myself, seal off my energy? Do I need to have less time at work, right? Maybe I need to have a tough conversation. Maybe that's the uncomfy work that I'm avoiding. Maybe I feel that within the home, maybe within my friend group. How can I leverage this energy of Saturn in order to ensure that I'm taking care of myself, my emotions, my energy? Because if you're feeling drained, like you constantly are soaking up energy from others, this is a time to tap into, yes, unconditional love, but unconditional love means boundaries. Because if you are too unconditionally loving around everybody who asks for some of your energy, your water will get poisoned. I don't say that to scare you. Love means having boundaries sometimes. You need to be vigilant around whom you allow into your river and for what duration of time, so that you can keep your waters clean for you to be able to refresh your energy stores, okay? Loving others doesn't mean doing so at the detriment of your own well-being. So on Wednesday, expect some building emotions around that. So on Thursday, we have a Pisces full moon recovery day. That's what I'm going to say. Because like I said, a lot of people will be very energized around the full moon, have a tough time sleeping. My full moon insomniacs, where you at? I feel you. Some people will feel drained, exhausted, maybe emotionally drained. Like sometimes what we need to remind ourselves that boundaries is needed is to understand how freaking drained we are. So if you like come back from work and you're like, I am taking on all of my customers' energy, or you come back from spending time with friends and you're like, oh, that was so much fun last night, but when I'm around them, I drink too much and then I don't feel well. Like again, maybe boundaries, a limiting of your time and energy and how much you give it towards others can be necessary here. Like sometimes that exhaustion or what's feeling heavy can also be a message within itself. So on Thursday, I will say it's kind of a recovery day with the energy of Pisces. Again, we are soaking up our surroundings, good or bad. So it might be really helpful on Thursday or Friday, especially if the full moon was draining. If there's some emotional reveals that you're still processing and coping, do something sweet for yourself. Thursday or Friday, take yourself for a date to your favorite cafe. Immerse yourself in nature. Like I said, with the energy of Pisces, we soak up all that's around us, good or bad, which is why if we're like in a scenario where it's like, oh, I'm around my coworkers and they're so draining, I'm just taking on all their stuff, I need some boundaries here. That's why it can be so draining. But it can also be so sweet when you're around people who do nourish your soul. You could just be soaking it in, right? Go out in nature, soak it in, listen to an album, soak it in, become your environment, feel how good that feels. Because again, like I said, you need to be vigilant about what you allow within your river. Okay? And that means being very intentional with the people that you allow within your river, with the media that you allow, ensuring that what it is that you invite into your space genuinely refreshes and uplifts the water that you're surrounded by, right? Because you can't control life. You can't control all of the rivers, right? Sometimes you will have to swim over to the other fishes, whether that's at work, whether that's at family functions, at the DMV, what have you, right? but you do have control over your own inner world, right? And how it is that you curate that environment in order to refresh your energy stores, in order to come back into your own pond, into your own river, and be like, listening to the music that reminds you who it is that you are, reading books that remind you who it is that you are, connecting with the studies that remind you with who it is that you are, connecting with the people who remind you who it is that you are. Just soul food, soul food. And on Thursday, there is this energy around feeling optimistic about moving forward. Now, we might not know exactly the path. You might have gotten some contrast around, this is not serving me. I don't know what I'm moving towards, but I know this relationship is not serving me. Or I don't know what I'm moving towards, but I know this habit of drinking every single afternoon after work is not serving me. And I want you to know, contrast brings clarity. That illumination around, hey, this relationship is not for me, or hey, this friend group is not for me, that can bring clarity. You may not know what exactly you're calling into your experience by releasing what does not serve from your river, right? But that contrast around what does not work for you and understanding, I will not accept this, right? I will not just continue to idly allow the currents to carry me. If these waters are poisoning me, I feel drained, I feel exhausted, I don't feel like me, I don't feel connected to my higher purpose. This is not right for me. That brings clarity. That's the first step right there. And you might not know where exactly it's going, because I say that because on Thursday, the Pisces moon opposes Mercury in Virgo. So you might be like, I don't know what's coming next. I got this illumination that I don't want to live here any longer, but I don't know where I'm moving towards. There could be energies around feeling lost. And I want to validate that if that's what your Pisces full moon is. It's like, something's not working, but I don't know what. And I'm feeling lost. Like I said, that's part of the Pisces experience sometimes, to be like, this world is not cut out for me. I'm not of this world, right? Because you're not completely. It's a balance. You are made of stardust, right? But in this physical plane, it's a balance of the two. And it's absolutely natural to feel like you've lost your way, to be swimming in waters that you're like, I don't recognize myself. I don't recognize my life. That's okay. Release the need to know where exactly you are going, right? Life is a delicate balance. Sometimes you have to swim upstream to get away from a current around. I do not like where that was headed. My boat was headed towards those sirens and those rocks, and I did not like that. I had to get away from that. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I have to get away from that. There could be times going through open water being like, I don't know where exactly I'm going. But trust that under your navigation, because sometimes we do have to be active, Spirit will guide you towards the right current. Observe what in your life is flowing. What is transpiring? Where are things clicking? What does feel good? It'll come through in very subtle ways. That illumination isn't fully coming through. To a very mundane level on Thursday, with the Pisces moon opposite Mercury in Virgo, just be so discerning. Reread, double check all communications. I want to scream that from the treetops, okay? Because communication can go sideways, technical difficulties, the whole thing. And the Pisces moon, there can be energy on, I don't want to deal with this. And again, it's a Pisces experience. Sometimes we have to like avoid reality a little bit, but there's such a difference between essentially diving into that album and going out with your friends and as a celebration, appreciation of this present moment versus an attempt to escape from the present moment. There is a difference there. So it can be soul food to go out with your friends or to listen to that album or whatever it is that you do with intention, right? That can be soul renewing, but it's important the intention that you bring into it. Are you enhancing your experience, looking for clarity, looking for answers, or seeking to run away from it? Because like I said, you can't run away from it. So just being mindful around where it is that you are escaping. And that shows up in a lot of ways. Like I think when we think of Pisces, we think of like substances, and absolutely it can go that way. Some of us escape through work. Some of us escape through relationships. Anything that you do just to numb what it is that you are scared of facing can be an escapism tactic. Anything that you use as a coping mechanism to distract yourself from the bigger questions can be an escapism technique. So just asking yourself as you do anything, am I doing this to enhance my experience? Am I going to the beach and going to the outlook to contemplate life's bigger questions and my role in the larger fabric of humanity? Or am I just using it to zone out, to run away from my responsibilities, to run away from my problems? Something important to sit with. And speaking of trying to silence spirit or snooze spirit, your dreams may also be trying to get your attention, especially the dreams that you have Thursday night as the Pisces moon does conjoin Neptune. So sometimes your dreams could be trying to tell you something, right? It's really a week to listen to the nudges from spirit as it comes through. Like when it comes to this full moon, it's like a message is coming out, right? Are we wanting to face it? So listen to your astrology forecast, write down your dreams, pull your cards, right? but honor the wisdom that's coming through, because sometimes that wisdom comes through and you don't want to hear it, right? That Tower card comes out and you're like, can I just put this back in the deck and get the Sun card, right? Sometimes you listen to your astrology forecast and Miss Haley Comet is telling you about a full moon gathered with Saturn and you're like, no thank you, can we get to a more fun full moon? You could have a dream about a friend betraying you and you're just trying to get it off your mind. You don't want to dig deeper for what that could be signaling to you. You're just like, I just want to dream about bunnies and playing with bunnies in a meadow. I don't want any more of these harsh dreams. That's not how it works. Like sometimes spirit can be something so comforting and renewing to feel held within the bigger picture, and it is, don't get me wrong. But sometimes there are messages that need to be heard. Sometimes there are tough pills to swallow when it comes to this human experience. So on Friday, we have an early morning Pisces moon conjunction to Neptune, which does make us more sensitive. Like I said, pay attention to your dreams. And then the Pisces moon sextiles Pluto and Capricorn, at which point it goes void. So the moon will be void from 3:36 until 6:25. So when the moon enters Aries at 6:25, we're out of the Pisces full moon feels. Now, you might still be kind of processing, but with the moon entering Aries, it's like, okay, what are we going to do about it, right? Because that's part of the Pisces experience. Again, they're fish, conflicting desires. And sometimes Pisces have to kind of like oscillate between the two. Like you have to oscillate between, oh, life is so hard and so heavy, I'm not cut out for this, I'm not cut out for this, to swinging back to, no, I create my own river, I can create magic, I can manifest my reality, I believe in my own potential, I'm gonna swim like hell to make it happen. Those dual desires can exist within a Pisces. And so what I want to say now with the waning, disseminating moon entering Aries is we're more inspired to make things happen, to go after what it is that we need to do to improve our reality. Because let's be real, all of Virgo season is all about how do we improve our reality? Mercury retrograde is making us look inward at our routines, at our day-to-day. How is it that we improve our reality? How do we become the best versions of ourselves? This Pisces full moon is reminding us sometimes it has to do with brutal honesty to ourselves, to others. Sometimes spirit has to be honest with us about where we are not living up to our potential, or where we are escaping, where we are using things that are not helping us to cope, to escape. So with the energy of Aries moon, you could find you're more inspired to make things happen, except maybe not Friday necessarily, because promptly after the moon enters Aries, it opposes Mars in Libra. So there can be this balancing act occurring here. And this feels important to highlight. So the Aries moon is answering to Mars in Libra. Now, Mars recently entered Libra over the weekend, and Libra is the sign of peace, and Mars is the planet of war. And so with Mars in Libra, there can be a danger around not advocating for ourselves in the name of keeping the peace. And I just want to say, in light of the vibe check, if anyone's personally currently navigating this, I want to remind you the law of relationships. And the law of relationships is this: what is good for you is good for the other person, even if the ego level they protest. You might think, I don't want to break their heart, I don't want to be honest with them, they're going to be so sad, they're going to be so upset. Yes, they will temporarily, but you have given them the gift of the truth, because that person deserves someone who wants to be in a relationship with them fully and isn't like wishy-washy about the nature. But again, with time comes clarity, and with time they will see why they couldn't be the person that you needed and why you couldn't be the person that they needed. Balance. Because that's not loving yourself, is suppressing your truth and holding on to it in an effort to keep the peace and to not hurt anybody's feelings and just going with the flow of where life is taking you. That's quite literally what the cosmos are asking us not to do with North Node Aries. It's about grabbing the life that we want. It's about being proactive and grabbing the life that we want, and not just living a life around what will make sure everybody likes me and how will I keep the peace. Sometimes you following your own truth will sometimes let people down, will sometimes upset people. Now, I want you all to feel my heart here. I'm not saying to hurt people's feelings or to be rude or to be awful at all. But all I'm saying is that other people's comfort cannot be more important than your integrity. You cannot live a life around how will I ensure that I ruffle as little feathers as possible. And I give this reminder on Friday because Mars is in Libra, and Mars doesn't like being in Libra. So just being mindful around where you are not advocating for yourself in the name of keeping the peace, and balancing, right? Balancing what it is that this person needs and what it is that you need, and advocating for the best win-win solution. And that means allowing your needs to be heard and felt as well, knowing that you are worthy of having your own needs heard and felt and received. And so on Friday, with the Aries moon opposing Mars, there can be this balance around this is what I want, but this is what would keep the peace. Sometimes we do need to assert ourselves. Sometimes we do need to say, hey, I think I need to swim upstream now, or hey, this is not the river for me, or hey, can we talk about ways that we could keep our mutual water better so that I'm not soaking in all of this toxic energy all of the time, right? And so with the energy of Moon opposite Mars, you could just be feeling drained. You could be feeling exhausted, right? Like I said, we're still in Pisces Full Moon recovery zone. You could be feeling a little listless, having a lack of motivation. Honor that. If you are feeling frustrated, put it into something active, put it into an activity. And then that evening, the Aries moon is building to trine Venus and Leo. So that would be great to do something fun. It can be quite passionate with the Aries moon connecting with both of the passion planets. So you could be feeling really passionate about something. It's honoring. If it's not a heck yes, 100% I'm in this, a lot of times it can be a heck no. Right? So if you are like dating someone right now, or you're in an opportunity where it's like, oh, it's good, just why does something feel off? Sometimes something feeling off is your intuition trying to tell you something. And if it's not a heck yes, sometimes it's a heck no, right? And you want a life full of heck yeses, full body yeses, where it's like, yes, this is it, you are it, this is it. And sometimes we have to say no in order to carve space for heck yeses. Because sometimes that Saturn brand of honesty is being honest about what it is that we are worth, or what it is that we deserve, or our own potential. And understanding, like, I'm not going to settle for lukewarm. Like, I want red hot, okay? And so with the energy of Aries moon trine Venus and Leo, have some fun, look beautiful, eat something delicious, enjoy life, and enjoy the situations and the circumstances in which you could be fully yourself, allowing your light to be shown out. On Saturday, September 2nd, the Aries moon will trine Venus and Leo very early in the day, like at 2:19 a.m. So you may, when you wake up, just be in this mood to want to enjoy and celebrate life. Venus does station direct over the weekend, which tends to be, we feel planets very strong when they do station. So you can be really feeling a lot of energy building around love, what it is that you want from love, what it is that you know that you deserve in love. There could also be this building momentum around finances, what it is that you want from your finances, what it is that you deserve within your finances, around value. And again, the energy of Aries is about being proactive, reaching out and grabbing the life that you want, right? Which involves understanding, hey, this current is taking me somewhere I don't want to go. Let me swim away from it. But all I want to say on Saturday is that there is some healing energy coming in. The Aries moon conjoins Chiron. So the thing about Chiron is that Chiron can be equally triggering as well as healing. Let's take it back to the vibe check. You know, you were trying to avoid reality, right? Reality found you. It typically does, right? And you're crying outside of the bar with your friends around you, making a scene. It's very messy, right? And that could be a vibe with Aries moon conjoining Chiron, is allowing our emotions to be messy and raw, right? Because that's just part of the experience. And again, it can be triggering to have that realization around, ooh, this relationship's over. Or like, ooh, this job is over. Ooh, my time in this place is over. It's sad to let that go, right? Oh, or it could also be an acknowledgement around, ooh, this person is in pain. This person within my orbit is in pain, but they are muddying my water the more I'm trying to heal them. Like, these are all illuminations that can be quite triggering. But even that acknowledgement around where that is hurting you can be the first step towards healing it. That messy cry sesh, probably not ideal, but that messy cry sesh can be the illumination that you needed. Might have came out in a very raw way, but the illumination that you needed around something needs to change within your life so that you're not crying when you're out and about with your friends, right? And to a mundane level on Saturday, there just can be certain wounds come up, like to a very micro level. Certain things happen that bring you back to old pain points, old pain tapes, where it's like, ooh, ouch. I went through these belongings because I'm decluttering with Mercury retrograde in Virgo, and I found these belongings of my exes. Ooh, ouch, that hurts to contemplate that particular chapter. Or, oh, I had a conversation with my partner and they said something that reminded me of a really challenging time within a relationship. Ouch, that hurts, right? So it's acknowledgement of these parts within us that can still feel raw and vulnerable. So allowing that to come up. And the gift of the Pisces full moon is that it is about acceptance, not in a way about being complacent about our journey, right? But it is about accepting, like, hey, that was part of my story. And with the moon meeting up with Chiron, the squaring Pluto, I want to be honest with you. You can be feeling some intense emotions, honestly, but observing where the challenges that you are moving through, swimming through currently, where they are pushing you into new directions, where they are making you meet new aspects of yourself, and knowing that this too shall pass. So on Sunday, September 3rd, great news. This is the day that Venus stations direct. So our Venus retrograde story is over. Make sure to check out the Venus retrograde video to reflect on what it was bringing to the surface for you in regards to your creativity, in regards to where your heart is and where your heart isn't, right? Because now with Venus changing directions, we're starting to get forward momentum, forward clearance to enact some of those illuminations that we had during the Venus retrograde story. No one panic. I'm not saying everybody's breaking up, but what I am saying is what came up for you about your values around money, around beauty. Now you're getting permission to start enact that within your external world. And so with Venus changing directions, we feel Venus strongly as it shifts. So the focus is less around gaining closure of past lovers to being open to new people who can come into your orbit, who can change your life at any time, who can widen your perspective at any time. Because that's the gift of moving through Saturn energy, and that's the gift of the vibe check that I was talking about, is that it can be heavy when spirit is nudging, like, hey, it's time for this relationship to part. But sometimes these heavy illuminations and these deep times of healing and processing a breakup is aligning you to your soulmate, aligning you to your life partner, right? That's why Saturn is getting your attention. It's like you need to have this chapter closed enough and to be healed enough for you to be able to start this beautiful relationship that we have destined for you with your soulmate. You have to listen to these little nudges of where your own intuition is guiding you. Because we can only see what's directly in front of us, right? When we're swimming in a river, we can only see the water around us. We don't know what's ahead. You know who does though? Spirit. That's why it's trying to get our attention. So it's trusting in that and allowing with Venus switching direction to give yourself permission to start looking forward, to get excited about new financial opportunities with Venus direct, to get excited about new people you have not met who will love you outside of even relationships, friendships, things of that nature. Getting excited about new looks that you will excavate. You know, Venus with it direct, it's safe to start putting beauty rituals on your calendars, book your hair appointments, your facials. Preferably, maybe wait until Venus clears the shadow, but you're pretty much good. Same goes with financial decisions. We're getting permission to look forward. We're open to new connections. We're taking all of the lessons of what Venus retrograde was showing us, and we're getting permission to move forward into the future that's waiting for us. And so from a lunar perspective, the Aries moon squares Pluto in Capricorn at 4:57, at which point the moon is void in Aries. So there can be some intense emotions. Pluto intensifies whatever it touches. But then the moon enters Taurus, which is the sign of the moon's exaltation. So it's comfy cozy there. It enters at 8 a.m., ending the void. Taurus, of course, rules Venus. So it is illuminating these Venus energies to a very mundane level. You could really be in the mood to want to enjoy life, okay? Like Venus is about pleasure. It's around beauty. And again, if you haven't been on a date, this is a great time to just be open to what life will give you moving forward. Understanding the past and what it is that you've gone through does not define your future, particularly around Venus themes is what I'm talking about here. Like the people that you've dated in the past will not be the people that you will date in the future, right? New aspects of you will come out with every single relationship that you have. How it is that you valued yourself in the past will be different than how it is that you value yourself in the future. Tomorrow, you can be in the shower and have an idea of something that will make you millions of dollars. Like you never know. And I think with the directional shift of Venus, it's just being open to the sweetness that life will have in store within our future and getting excited about it. And the Taurus moon, sextiling Saturn, Pisces kind of highlights that as well. So ground down, enjoy the simple things, and get excited about what life will have in store for you. Because we may not see in our vantage point, but Spirit does. And Spirit promises you it'll be sweet, okay? Sometimes we have to have tough conversations, boundaries in order to carve space for all the sweetness that's ahead, but it's worth it. It's hard, but it's worth it. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is I love myself and I love others enough to be honest. Pisces is the sign of fantasy and fiction, right? And sometimes we can feel like it's the more loving thing to do to give comforting lies. But this is a week around radical honesty because the truth will set you free. It will hurt your feelings, but it will set you free. Somebody telling you, I don't want to be in a relationship with you any longer. I think our lives are moving in different directions. That's going to break your heart. That's going to be heavy to deal with, but it's setting you free to move towards the future that is waiting for you. You having to have boundaries with friends that you feel have been taking advantage of your generosity. You speaking your truth might be uncomfortable, might be awkward, but it's setting you free to call in friends who will genuinely value you, or setting your time free if you decide you don't want to spend as much time with them. And you can set yourself free from self-sabotaging behaviors when you are honest with yourself, when you stop running from yourself, when you stop trying to drink it away, smoke it away, shop it away. Let it be. Face it. I promise when you stop running from it, it's not so scary that you've built up within your own mind. And this too is self-love. Like, we think of self-love as just bubble baths and chocolate, but sometimes self-love is looking at yourself in the mirror and having tough conversations around, Haley, we've got to talk about this habit, or like, Haley, let's get real. If you feel like you are here to be a writer, why are you not writing? Or like, fill in your own name in the tough, stern conversation that you have to have with yourself. This too is an act of love. Love is not complacence. Love is not just letting your life idly sit you by. It's loving yourself enough to show up for your potential. And with so much in Virgo, this does come down to the day-to-day. And love for others as well is seeing their potential and holding them to that standard, right? You do need friends in your life who keep you accountable. Saying, I love you too much to watch you destroy your potential. This is the standard that I'm holding you towards. Because again, I just want to be clear. It's not you taking responsibility for their actions, but it's you being diligent about the fish that you're swimming through life with. Because in micro ways, their behaviors will rub off on you. But even more troubling, you'll have to navigate life with somebody who does not see their potential and continues to indulge in things that are toxic or self-sabotaging or whatever the story is. Like, that's not love. Enabling someone is not love. Enabling yourself, enabling others is not love. So my loves, if you've made it to the end of the video, congrats to you. Thanks for hanging out with me, for swimming through this river of life with me. Drop a fish emoji below, or use fish within a sentence if you made it to the end so that I know. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. I'll let you guys know what transpires for me. I shared last week, I'm a little nervous about this full moon because it does land exactly on my sun and exactly on my moon, and it's coinciding with the second pass of my Saturn return. So a lot baking in the cosmos for me. So we'll see how that all goes, but grateful to be swimming through life with you all. Thank you so much for being here. So until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay positive.